Welcome back, Commander. I believe this may be the second time that we've seen that. That being the Tesla tank. Oh, you don't recognize it? That's probably because in Counter-Strike it didn't have its own skin. Or sprite, or whatever you want to call it. It seems a little weird that they didn't, but it's actually really nice to see that they were making such changes. It also goes to show that Counter-Strike just kind of had more love towards the Ant missions and working towards getting maps out, whereas Aftermath, lacking the Ant missions, seemed to just go with adding a bunch of new units, as well as missions, of course. It also kind of shows that in Aftermath there seemed to be a higher priority, I guess we'll call it, about adding new units to the arsenal. Stuff that would essentially be permanent. The Chrono tank isn't something, as far as I know, that is limited to the single player. So if it's not immediately obvious, this is kind of similar to the Tanya missions a couple missions ago. Well, more than a couple, but point is that you're still island hopping, but you're using new tech with the Chrono tanks. The map's also a lot bigger, and your objectives seem to be I don't want to say more varied, but they're leading up towards something. Rather than in the previous mission where it seemed like you were simply just going from one island to the next just to pick up more units to eventually go do something. I guess when I say it like that, I don't feel like I get the point across. Maybe I'm just gushing at these missions because I kind of liked Aftermath more than I did Counter-Strike. Oh, and I'm not entirely sure why this sequence exists. Like, why is there an engineer there? And since I'm pretty sure I don't get a Chinook in this mission, I think that engineer is kind of doomed. Maybe it's something to do with having the Chrono tanks pop over to the next island and you keep the engineer around just to capture that crate and heal your units if you need it. But I also think there might be something if you actually capture the radar dome. Hopefully I'll be able to think about it once the past recording of the future map mission video, I'll remember to check for that. And this is why I prefer doing everything in its sequence. Oh hey, it's Stavros again. Unfortunately for me, I kinda messed up my attempt there. there's a little bit of an issue when you're trying to teleport chrono tanks when you're moving around.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
In a way, this mission actually really sets up how and what exactly the best use is for the chrono tank. They're relatively strong against buildings, more powerful than they are against infantry, that's for sure. And vehicles, I mean, they do well against them, but the chrono tank, like the Tesla tank, are very fragile.
Mission saved.
It seems like one of those things where you'd use the chrono tank as a very good way to infiltrate an enemy base and just put a lot of damage on important locations really quickly.
What's up? I'm there.
You might not come away, destroying the entire base or even, let's say a refinery or something big, but if you can take out a power plant or two and effectively remove all sort of defensive structures from any importance, you get to sneak in maybe a MCV and start up your base.
Yes, sir. Let's rock. Let's rock.
Or at least, turn the tides in your favor.
Waiting order. Vehicle reporting. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir.
And since there's no real reason why we should give the Soviets
Waiting order. Affirmative.
any possibility of salvaging, I don't know why, salvaging their Tesla coil.
I'm there.
Next thing you know, they power it up again and you're stuck having to deal with that for a minute or two.
I'm there. Yes, sir. Reporting. Yes, sir.
I mean, after all, there is water on the map, so maybe it'll come in handy. Not for this engineer, though.
Rock. I'm there. What's up? I'm there. What's up? I'm there.
Gotta admit, though, it's nice that we're given a renewable source of income this time around.
What's up there? What's up? Let's rock. Yeah? Let's rock. I'm there. Let's rock. What's up? Let's rock.
Construction complete. Construction options. Building.
Yeah? I'm there. What's up? I'm there.
On hold. Cancel.
Yeah? I'm there.
Here's another example as to why you probably shouldn't always scout right away.
I'm there.
Especially if you don't have anything, back at home.
Yes, sir.
Very reminiscent of Command and Conquer. Or Age of Empires is what I meant to say.
Yes, sir. I'm there.
Construction complete. Construction options.
Rock.
Building.
Yes, sir. Let's rock. I'm there.
Training.
Yeah? Let's rock. I'm there. What's up?
Construction
I'm there.
complete.
Yeah, let's rock. Yes, sir. I'm there.
Unit ready.
Commander. On my way for king and country.
So the mission briefing stated that we had to deal with nuclear silos, and we've already seen at least a few of those in the campaign. So at least we know what we're looking for.
Yes, indeed. For king and country.
Thankfully for us, it seems like that's the only real objective of this mission.
Commander. For king and country.
Which is nice because, again,
Commander.
it strays away from the, I guess, more common destroying everything map objective.
My way. On my way. For king and country. For king and country. Yes, sir. On my way.
Construction complete. Building.
Commander. Indeed. For king and country. On my way. On my way.
Now, the upside of the nuclear silos being the only real mission objective, again, is that it's limiting the amount of, I guess,
Is under attack.
force or units that you'll need to devote to an attack. Like, you can kind of plan around what you really want to do.
Commander, for king and country. For king and country. Indeed. Yes, sir.
Now, the only problem seems to be that, well, they've got a nice set of walls. There's some SAM sites, all over the place. They clearly have a lot of power, and, well,
Reporting.
not really much else, it seems like. To the point where I've just completed 50% of the final objective.
King and country. Reporting. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Commander. Indeed. Awaiting orders.
And for some reason, the AI doesn't want to send that infantry after me.
Construction optional.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I'm not complaining, I just think it's weird.
Commander. On my way. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Indeed. Indeed.
Building.
Commander. Indeed.
Unit lost.
Indeed.
Now that's sort of where I went wrong. If I was smart, I would have just used one of the Chrono tanks to throw upwards and
Reporting.
have him kill that one nuclear silo all by himself. But you can kind of figure out where the rest of this video is going to go, right?
Reporting. Yes, sir. Commander. On my way. King and
After all, if you're going to give me the tech level 4 Chrono tanks, there's no reason why I wouldn't actually take advantage of that.
Yes, sir. For king and country. Commander. King and country.
I'm not quite sure why that V2 rocket is exploring the
Yes, sir. No.
complete corner or side of the map.
No.
Unit ready.
Waiting orders.
It's also interesting to see the Chinook helicopter being there, but I don't think that the commander ever has anything, the general or Stavros or whoever he is, I don't think there's anything that forces him off the map. But admittedly, I don't recall ever seeing him again.
My way.
For all I know, he's probably just hiding in some corner for some reason.
Yes, sir.
Not that he's important or anything to the mission, he just exists.
Commander. On my way. Yes, sir.
Unit
Yes,
ready.
sir.
Building.
Reporting. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Normally I'd skip the medium tanks just because I'd rather get a Chrono tank out faster, but I never really know what the AI is going to throw at me, so I figured probably this time is better safe than sorry.
Sir. For king and country. Commander. On my way.
This is like the one time where I've been able to have my spy go anywhere I want and not have any issues.
Reporting. What's that?
It's a little weird.
Commander. Yes, sir.
To the point where I kind of wondering if like something broke.
On my way. Yes, sir. On my way.
I kind of expect the AI to like,
My way.
I don't know, have more planes and
Indeed.
stuff going on.
Indeed. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
I guess I shouldn't complain.
Reporting. Acknowledged. We have acknowledged.
Unit
Acknowledged.
ready.
Acknowledged.
Unit lost. Building.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Oh, and the good thing is that Chrono tanks come out of the War Factory with a full charge.
waiting orders.
So you don't really have to wait to throw your unit up and take out the nuclear silo.
No. Reporting.
Just don't have them too close to the Tesla coil.
Yes, sir.
Mission